Will artificial intelligence be able to help me with my anxiety? And what does Doechii know about the thing that plagues many people around the world? Let's talk about anxiety. Hey everybody, welcome to the Ultimate YouTube channel. It's your girl, Rosalie. This is so freaking powerful. Guess what time it is? Let's keep this short and simple, but I had to come on here. So often we're stuck in our own little world, but it's all so much bigger than we realize. Many of you know what it's like to be anxious. I know what it's like to be anxious. There are those who suffer from severe anxiety to the point that it makes day-to-day life difficult, and there's a need for medication and deep therapy. For others, it may be anxiety that you learn to live with that comes and goes. It manifests in different ways. But let's talk about Doechii's viral song Anxiety, and let's see if artificial intelligence and GPT can give us some pointers. Every time Doechii says the word anxiety, I will find something around me that I can use my 5 senses with to ground myself. And I want you to do the same. Leave a comment below. What does the word anxiety evoke in you? Do you ever feel anxious? If you feel comfortable to share, what are some things that make you anxious and trigger anxiety? My name is Rosalie. I've worked as a therapist and teacher. I have a master's in counseling psychology. I am not a licensed therapist yet. That must be said. I do not diagnose, and I want you to know that as therapeutic as these videos can be, they shouldn't be in lieu of instead of therapy. So if you're struggling, please still seek help. Make sure to subscribe to experience more music with me. I love the flowers, the colors. That hook from somebody that I used to know is legendary. Right now, bright, joyful, a pretty girl in her room recording a snippet, maybe throwback to 2019. Now a trigger.
Anxiety, keep on trying me. I feel it quietly, trying to silence me. Yeah, my anxiety can't shake it off of me. Somebody's watching me, and my anxiety.
She's saying anxiety so often, I can't keep up with my own homework. Talk about triggers.
Solo, no mojo, I bounce back, no pogo. Unhappy, no homo, new brands, no logos. Money on my juggler, natural hustler. Think I need a smuggler up in Russia. You could be my butler, shine my cutler. Shout out to Oyenda, that's the guzzler. Okay, next thing, my life is a wet dream. I call it a sex scene, the bag is a nice tease. I tried to escape, my life is an X-ray. I'm sorry, a sex tape, you only get one take. Quiet on the set, please.
Wow.
Rolling anxiety in 3, 2, 1. Anxiety.
Okay, I gotta stop for a second. Oh my gosh. First of all, she's saying anxiety so often and so frequently, I can't keep up with my own homework. I told you to find something around you that can calm you and soothe you. Use your senses, taste, smell, hearing, seeing, to ground yourself, to come back to the present moment. But this is almost adding to my anxiety, trying to do all the things to calm myself down. How is it for you? Talk to me in the comments. Are you able to do the homework, find ways to be present anytime she says anxiety? It's a little bit much, I won't lie. Maybe my homework is not the best idea, and we're going to have to do this afterward to process the song, because there's so much happening. I'm going to go back to where I just was, but I want to point out a couple of things. The fact that we're going from a beautiful flower garden and clean windows is what I'm seeing, and these beautiful colors and patterns. The pillow says never too many, which is funny. Beautiful, almost mandala-like look picture, right? Mandalas and meditation and those type of patterns can be very therapeutic to calm yourself when you're coloring them and looking at them. The artwork, right? We know that art can be therapeutic and helpful to ground ourselves, to find ways to deal with your anxiety. Flowers, something that smells good, looks beautiful. You see all these things that could technically bring someone joy and help, be a therapeutic way to deal with day-to-day stress. But there's this contrast here between the beautiful, the girly, her recording this snippet in her room, which might be throwback to 2019 when she recorded this before this all went viral and blew up. A girl in her attire. Obviously, there's still the elements of sex appeal and this bralette looking thing. And there's still these elements that we often find in the music industry where that could be a distraction and something that we notice that pulls our attention. You got these guys picking her up, moving her around as if she's a piece of furniture. There's so much symbolism here. Even the color scheme and the cinematography, the contrast from her in that beautiful, colorful room to now stepping into a hallway that has a lot of neutral colors, very bland almost, dare I say. The beige, the brown, there's not a whole lot of color pop in the hallway or in the living room. It's a big contrast to the way that room looked. Almost as if the room was her safe space where she's creating, just being herself, minding her own business, and something comes crashing through the windows, shocking her like a trigger, right? For some of you, this might be your PTSD responses, right? When you have experienced trauma, you have PTSD. Now you hear a loud bang or something happens and it shocks you, it startles you. There's so much symbolism we'll talk about after, even the way she's being moved around and tossed on the couch. Her attire very much in contrast to those young ladies sitting on the couch in their beautiful blue dresses. A lot of symbolism here, a lot of ways we could look at this. But I won't lie, my little exercise of finding something different all the time that it plays into my senses is not working for me. So I'm going to pivot and I'm just going to touch my little heart. By the way, we got to give this guy a name. So that's my recommendation from me. If that's what you prefer, I would recommend the same for you. Find one thing that grounds you, something you can touch, smell, taste, anytime we hear the word anxiety. You ready to keep listening? Here we go.
Shout out to Oyenda, that's the guzzler. Okay, next thing, my life is a wet dream. I call it a sex scene, the back is a nice tease. I tried to escape, my life is an X-ray. I'm sorry, a sex tape, you only get one take. Quiet on the set, please.
This is wild. This is good.
Rolling anxiety in 3, 2.
Almost like you can...
Anxiety, keep on trying me.
Yep.
I feel it quietly.
Trying to get back in that room.
Trying to silence me.
Oh.
Anxiety, shake
Woo.
it off of me.
Beautiful voice.
Somebody's watching me. It's my anxiety.
Oh, I like that. Oh, oh my gosh. That was a Doechii reference.
Corridor from Florida. What's in that clear blue water? No limits, no borders. What's in that new world order? Marco, Polo, Negro run from Popo. That blue light in that Rojo. And it's like I get this tightness in my chest, like an elephant.
Oh, yeah.
Is standing.
Yeah.
And I just let it take over. Anxiety keeps on trying me. Anxiety keeps on trying me. Anxiety, oh, I feel it trying, keep it trying, keep it trying. Oh, I feel the silence, keep it quiet, keep it quiet. Oh, it keeps on touching me. Anxiety keeps on trying to do.
All right. Wow, that's so poignant. Wow. Okay, there was so much to talk. There's so much to talk about. Don't go away. We have work to do. It's going to be fun. We're going to look at AI and see how AI can be of therapeutic value. Can AI give me some therapy and work with me through some of my anxieties? And you're going to witness it in real time. You're going to get to be the fly on the wall in an AI therapy session. I'm going to be straight with you. There was a couple of scenes here that had me anxious. Obviously, I was trying to do my homework. Like I said, every time she said anxiety, going ahead and just gently touching this little heart of mine that you guys get to name. Help me find a good name. And it's soft and it's fluffy and it's sweet and it's a bright color. So it made me feel good. This was nice. But it was almost stressful to try to keep track of every time she said anxiety because she said it so much. But that in itself is fitting to life because when we're talking anxiety, We can't control it. It's not this thing where we can decide that we just want to experience it once a week, please. I want anxiety just once a week and then I'm good. No, it keeps popping up. Even in the end, how it starts all over again. Well, it felt very fitting to the cycle. It felt very fitting to the fact that it's this cycle where you think you're out on the street, you think you're dancing it off and shaking it off. And that's the part, by the way, full disclosure, where I'm like, man, really, do we have to go to the whole twerking butt shaking thing? Why do we keep having to go back to that? Yes, it fits to the idea of shaking it off like she's saying, but why? Why do we have to bring in the sexualization part? My question, you may judge me for thinking that, but that's where my mind went. And I'm going to ask AI in a second why these type of things sometimes add anxiety to it. Some of you might feel that way. Some of you might think, no big deal. I'm curious to find out why. Let's understand ourselves. It ending with her being back in her room, jamming out to this song was so fitting and poignant. And now something crashing through her window and shocking and startling her again. That cycle, that anxiety is very, very fitting. When we look at the composition, obviously they picked a legendary hook to use. It was so cool to see that they did it not to Doechii and Kimbra as she was walking through the rooms. We are wired, we're made, set up biologically to want closure, to look for that closure in a story, in a song. And so even here, the whole composition was that buildup, that anxiety buildup to the point of her getting into dancing around and things just peaking and her climbing with her singing, bringing in some beautiful runs. I think that was fitting for her to be walking around in this little bralette. At first, I thought this is just maybe her persona, her brand. I don't listen to her music, so maybe this is just how she dresses. And then you have the music industry and the fact that sex sells, and so sexualization brings more curiosity, right? But I think also maybe it was more than that here, and perhaps also a way of showing exposure. When you're anxious and you're around people and you feel lonely and you are constantly in that cycle, you may also feel exposed. I spoke on the bright colors. Let's talk about it a little bit, and the contrast with the rest of the house. Something flying through the window, trigger for anxiety for sure. The way they were moving her around like she was a piece of furniture was interesting, because I think when it comes to anxiety, depending on the severity that you're experiencing it at, sometimes it feels like you are really being controlled by that emotion, by that situation. It's not so much us in control of our emotions and our anxiety. It feels like anxiety is carrying you around and you're being moved around like an object that has no say where you're going to be placed. But also the fact they put her in the middle of the room is kind of fitting to this idea of, we're going to put you front and center. It could be taken two ways. The fact that we have to get into the center, down into the core of things and figure out where is this coming from if we really want to find a remedy for our anxiety, or also symbolic for the fact that anxiety makes you feel like you're in the middle of it all, the center of it all. Not necessarily the center of attention, but it's the center of your life. It takes over the entire room or a large part of the room. She's walking through the house and there's all these different nods, I feel, to what triggers anxiety, right? She's being carried around, maybe also this nod to how she feels when it comes to music and her musical journey, right? Being used, maybe being objectified. Is that a nod to that? Doechii and Kimbra doubles in the corner up against the wall. That was very fitting and a super cool way of honoring the original. But at the same time, it was fitting how they blend in with the wall, and then the way she counts down 3, 2, 1, and they turn their faces. Because it almost is, to me, it feels like this nod to as if the walls could speak. This idea that for when you can count down, 3, 2, 1, here comes my anxiety. I'm so used to it, I can almost count down when it kicks in. But also this idea of this abrupt movement by the wall, as if the walls have ears and as if everything is conspiring and watching you. It's this feeling of paranoia. And the way she sings this song and even the lyrics, I like it because it makes it relatable to people across the board that have experienced anxiety in any shape or form. Those who suffer with severe anxiety and need medication and therapy, those who have who experience anxiety are anxious now and then, but they just kind of still go through day-to-day life. Those who have severe paranoia and have been diagnosed with it and need serious help. Like this song is relatable across the board, wherever you are in that range. And I like that. Those girls in the blue dresses, is that a nod to the expectations of young girls in general, maybe particularly young brown girls that are expected to look a certain way or to perform a certain way or be a certain way? Even the way that she waves her hand in front of them as if they are not aware, they're not present, and she feels alone. Almost like she's in this alternate reality and she's trying to get their attention. Like, are you seeing this? Are you feeling this? This group of people, as I said, I wasn't sure at first if this was meant like in a racial way, right? White versus black, but I see this as a diverse group of people. So maybe it's just this idea of everybody has their spot. Everybody has a place. The girls on the sofa, they seem to know what they're doing or where they're supposed to be. The people around the table all sitting with their backs straight and proper. Maybe some college group, maybe some group of scholars or experts in any profession who are looking at her, judging her. And she's looking around, lost. They're looking back at her, judging. Also fitting to anxiety, right? This fear of, do I fit in? Do I belong here? Being judged. Ironically, a lot of times we are anxious because we worry what other people think of us while they're worried what we think of them. The fire in the kitchen, so poignant. Is this a nod to feeling alone, as I mentioned earlier, where you have people that could help, that should help? Some of you who know this, where you're in a relationship or in friendship or in different circumstances where you feel left alone and you are trying to juggle it all and you feel like you're not seen by your spouse or your friends or your children or whoever, and you're the one putting out all the fires and they're just sitting there and not paying attention to everything in flames. The dog, what phobia? Is that a nod to the way that they're all messing around with her looks and trying to give her water while also putting on makeup, while also putting on earrings? Her in the music industry and what's expected of her. People in general, right? The way we try to juggle it all. I got to stay hydrated, but I also got to look good, but I also have to have the earrings. Oh, wait a minute, right? Breathe. What does she say at this point? There's something interesting she says.
I tried to escape. My life is an X-ray.
The escape, X-ray. Cool rhyme scheme, cool play on words.
Sorry, a sex
nice
tape.
alliteration.
You only get one take.
And then that part was wild too, talking about the sex tape, you only get one take. I feel like when it comes to even that industry, and I won't say too much, spell out too much for you because I don't want it to get blocked. But even when it comes to that world, the industry, if you know what I'm talking about, there's this false illusions and false expectations being raised of what a woman is supposed to be able to do or look like, or what people want or should be able to do, because there's multiple takes. It can be taken, it can be retaken, it can be edited. This doesn't just go for the X industry. This goes for anything, right? Filters, videos, we can edit, we can make things look a certain way. And it adds to this anxiety of thinking, I don't have it figured out. Everybody has their idea of, everybody knows how to do it, I don't, right? That can be a trigger for anxiety as you're scrolling through social media and you see these images that are actually filtered and altered. You see videos that create unrealistic expectations, but it wasn't one take. There's also a double entendre here. You only get one take in the sense maybe of life. You only get one life. This is one shot. What are you going to do with it? That causes anxiety too. From a psychological standpoint, that causes death anxieties and existential angst. The way the walls look at her, right? Beautiful nod again to the original. I love that. Her trying to break into the room was so poignant, right? Let me get back to my place of joy and of colors and peace. Let me get back to the place that who I used to be. This is where I want to be. Running around, maybe let me try another door. There's so much symbolism here because that's what we do, right? We want to get back to who we truly were. When it comes to anxiety and depression and different turmoils, people are not case numbers. They're not a walking diagnosis. And the dilemma sometimes is, while labels can be helpful, a diagnosis can be very helpful. So I know what medication to take. So I know what's broken and I can now get fixed. The dilemma sometimes is we now so over-identify with that diagnosis that it's hard to go deeper into underlying wounds and underlying things that are deeply ingrained in us and the things we story to ourselves, and where we fail even in the therapy world to see people as people and the relationship, the intimacy that's necessary to cause healing. But I see this desperate plea of going back not only to that safe, quiet, happy, colorful room, but maybe also to a part of herself she's afraid she's lost. Maybe her younger self, or now trying a different door. All these different doors we trying to escape our anxiety. The lighting changes now. It gets darker and the chandelier falls. And I like this because this sheds an honest light on how heavy their anxiety can be. That it's really not just frantically running around and putting out fires or a crashing sound through your window. Literally noises that might trigger anxiety, but also that battlefield in the mind when it feels like you're on edge about everything. I think a lot of people can relate to this. And that's why I think there's a lot of also self-medication, people that look to drugs and alcohol or pornography or unhealthy relationships that are not doing them any good, that are not benefiting a full, wholesome life, because we're trying to escape, we're trying to silence the noise and the crashing sounds that are constantly around us. Here it gets darker and the flames are still burning and there's crazy stuff happening over here. What is this on the piano? Let me look again. Everything's on fire. She's running around right here. What is this? Are these two people fighting, or is this one person contorted, completely contorted? And is that the word? German is my first language, so don't judge me. Just chaos. Chaos, threats in the corner, something lurking in the corner. The lighting is getting darker now. Like I said, chandelier falls. It's like the ceiling is crashing in on you. That's poignant because anxiety is really not just, butterflies and a little bit of heart racing and a little bit of unease. For some, it might be, and that's uncomfortable to live with too. But for others, it literally feels like the ceiling is falling down and everything is caving in and you're breathing frantically. And it's heavy. And now she's back into a lighter room, but she's disoriented. The darkness is not as dark, but she is disoriented, doesn't know where to go, doesn't know which way is right or left. And again, a threat looming behind the corners, ready to grab her, ready to snatch her. It's this brilliant personification of anxiety, what anxiety is. The thing that is constantly lurking around the corner to drag you around and to confuse you and to disorient you. And it keeps you in a cycle, constantly in a cycle. Okay, this guy, now we see it a little better. He is just all over the place. He is just wrapping himself into a pretzel. Almost looks like a wild version of jujitsu. And it keeps going through the same thing again and again, right? She was going through those rooms more than once. It's that cycle of anxiety. But finally steps outside. The sun is shining. There's beautiful green, right? Colors, sounds, they impact us. Being in nature can be so therapeutic. Again, shouldn't just be used instead of therapy, but in addition to working through our pains and our wounds. And she's stepping out exposed, right? Maybe there's also this element, like I said earlier, of feeling exposed, like you're out of the open, stepping onto the street, trying to find a moment to breathe, trying to catch her breath. The elephant imagery was brilliant. She sings about it too and raps about it, this elephant on my chest. That's what anxiety feels like. I think she really did justice to what anxiety is about, and I respect it. It's not just, I feel a little bit anxious, or a catchy song, but the music video really puts into words how heavy, literally, elephant image, how wild, how chaotic, how unpredictable, how sudden anxiety can be, and how lonely. And now here, as the people are all standing around, she ran outside. You would think outside is where she'll have peace. I love how she dances, very artistic here, and everybody's dancing with her. Are they mocking her? Is this a mimic, or is this a nod to the fact that many other people are in the same situation and we don't know it? She stands alone. She thinks she's alone. Are these people, again, mocking her, which adds to the feeling of loneliness? People saying, whatever, you're just exaggerating, just get over it, right? Or are they all doing similar motions because she's really not alone? But it's chaotic. It's crazy. Zombie-like running towards you, right? I mean, it just feels like everything is just brilliant. Brilliant depiction of what anxiety really causes. I love the artistic movements here. The way she's being pulled, kicking and screaming, being dragged away. I mean, beautiful flash mob theatrics. All the pressure. This part I didn't like so much. Like I said, we're going to look into AI in a second. Why music videos can trigger anxiety, what AI has to say about it. The dancing, very artistic, very beautiful. So many ways we could take that. Her trying to find her way through the masses, crawling back, trying to get back to the room. She's back in that room and the windows crash and it all starts over again. My goodness. Brilliant music video. Really, really profound and so artistically portraying what anxiety is really about. How many of you can relate to that? And which scene in that house stood out to you the most? Tell me in the comments. Let's talk to AI a bit. As promised, let's find out what we can do, what AI suggests we can do with anxiety. But I'm going to make it personal. Why do some music videos make me anxious? Let's see what GPT says about it. Let's find out. That's a really good question, and you're definitely not alone in feeling that way. There are a few reasons why some music videos might trigger anxiety. Okay, so AI here, artificial intelligence, first of all, affirmed my question. There was no response that was belittling or demeaning. What a stupid question. How could you even ask such a thing, Rosalie? Acknowledging my question, complimenting me, right? Creates a space of safety. I feel now validated, more comfortable maybe to listen to what AI has to say to me. You're definitely not alone. Also, very good way of affirming, of creating a safe space to make someone feel willing to talk more. But how deep can AI really go? Let's find out. Here are a few ways that music videos might trigger anxiety. And I'm going to tell you which one stands out to me the most, and we'll go deeper. I like the fact that this is also a list. It creates structure and order. Everyone's different, but to me, a whole paragraph would feel a little bit more overwhelming. This feels more doable. Fast cuts and chaotic editing, rapid scenes, flashing lights, unpredictable camera movements. We had all that, but it was fitting because the song was about anxiety. This sensory overload can trigger anxiety. Tell me in the comments which one of these fits best to you, by the way. Unsettling imagery or themes. Music videos use disturbing visuals that are surreal or dark or aggressive. Emotional. If the song or video contains intense emotions like sadness, anger, or panic. Personal associations. Sometimes a scene, sound, or even a certain vibe might remind you of a stressful memory or emotion. And sometimes it could be the sound design, like low rumbles, screeches, or distorted effects. Would you want to tell me about a specific video that made you feel that way? Let's get personal. I am curious why anxiety made me anxious. This is kind of a duh for most of us probably. Especially when she started shaking her bottom. Let's see what AI has to say about this. That's really interesting. You're picking up on something real. Let's break it down carefully. The anxiety is loaded with intense raw emotion, internal struggles, mental health. When she started shaking her bottom, that moment might have triggered you because sudden change in energy. The energy shifts dramatically. It goes from a vulnerable emotional space into a hyper-animated, almost chaotic movement. The jump in intensity can feel jarring, almost like an emotional whiplash. I could see this being valid to a degree because it went from, this is really deep. I'm looking at this from a therapist's standpoint. I'm analyzing all the symbolism. I'm trying to do what I told you guys I would, ground myself. Again, I need a name. Help me. This is personal. I know what it's like to have anxiety, but there's also the pressure as a content creator and an educator and a therapist to give you value. And now we're switching and suddenly shaking our butt. And in my mind, I associate that with sexuality, sensuality, and a lot of music videos that use sexuality to sell. So that change maybe was what caught me off guard. I like that. Okay, AI, you might be onto something here. Number 2, sensory overload. The shaking combined with quick cuts, flashing lights, heavy beats can overload your senses. Yeah, I could see this being valid, but I already was overloaded because the whole music video was a lot. But again, it was good that way because it was about anxiety. Emotional contradiction. There's a contrast between the heavy subject matter, anxiety and vulnerability, and the physical action of twerking and high energy movement, which can create cognitive dissonance. Your brain tries to reconcile two very different emotional signals. Yes, I like this one too. 1 and 3 so far. Because number 1, we're talking about something heavy like anxiety. There's pressure on me to make a good video for you guys. But now she's twerking, and while I don't like the hypersexualization in the music industry, I'm also aware that twerking can be an attractive thing sexually, right? This it pulls people in, sensual things. When we see our body parts revealed, when we see fast movement, this is not just something that is necessarily, it causes attraction to everybody, but it causes a response. And that might cause that conflict in our brain. 2 very different emotions. I'm seeing something that might be distracting, tempting, attractive, sexual. That doesn't fit with how we're talking about mental health and trying to create a safe space for therapy. Body language and symbolism. Shaking or uncontrolled body movements can subconsciously remind people of distress and chaos. In short, that scene might have been kind of a sensory emotional spike when you were already vulnerable from the music and video. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. AI wants to go deeper. Should we go deeper? Click like if you want me to go deeper. Would you like me to explain why certain styles of twerking in music videos can feel empowering or overwhelming? Yes. Talk to me. Talk to me. I would love to understand that. Let's see what AI has to say. Let's dive into it. Twerking can feel very different depending on the context. I agree. It can be intentional, proud, and in control and feel empowering. If the artist is owning their body, there's a sense of joy, sexual freedom, rebellion, or celebration, and the energy feels uplifting or defiant. Wow. Yes. If it's empowering, or if it comes from a place of freedom, I'm having a good time, I'm shaking, I'm just enjoying myself, versus if it's the type of music video that feels dark and comes from an angle of perversion and lust and temptation. Overwhelming and anxious. If it's in the middle of an emotional, vulnerable place, in the middle of emotional vulnerability, or super frantic, harsh, or desperate. Okay. if the performer is losing control, not expressing control, panicky, chaotic, or detached from joy. Wow. In Doechii's song Anxiety, the song is already about her mental struggles. When she suddenly starts moving so intensely, it might feel like a physical manifestation of an emotional collapse, almost like her body is trying to shake off the anxiety but can't escape it. Oh my gosh. Would you guys agree with that? Yes. Out of context, it wasn't the joyful expression of I'm dancing and naturally things are moving. It's from a place of anxiety, almost like it's the highest peak of the song, which it was from a musical compositional standpoint. We had worked through verses 1 and 2 and through the choruses. We're now by the bridge. Everybody's dancing. Not only is the song at the bridge and at the peak of the crescendo, but the lyrics are, the music video is, everything has accumulated at this peak moment. And the shaking almost feels like an emotional collapse. Her body trying to shake it off, but can't escape it. It can be deeply unsettling to watch because on a gut level, you sense the struggle, even if it's expressed through something usually considered fun or sexy. Now, personally, generally, when I see twerking in a music video, I don't consider that sexy. I more so think of perversion and lust. And I think that is because a lot of times the settings that it is where women are being objectified, where things are darker and heavier thematically, the why behind it. And I love how AI just put that into words really well. It's not fun or sexy. It's almost like this emotional collapse. Your brain reads body language faster than you can consciously realize. Yes, this is correct. You see chaotic or jarring movement, especially combined with anxious music, your brain's amygdala can trigger a mini uh-oh response. Something's wrong here. Pay attention, protect yourself. Even if you're intellectually thinking she's just performing, your nervous system might already be feeling activated. We're quick to look for methods to try to get rid of the anxiety versus figuring out where it's coming from and making space for it and understanding that your body is doing what it was created to do. When you're feeling angry or anxious, we think we need to escape it and get rid of that. But actually, your body was made to do these things. It's your body's way of healing and working through it. And we can tell our brain all we want. You're fine, you're safe. We can have logical conversations all day long, but we can't just change our body. The body is the one reacting. The body is the one who remembers the trauma. And so there is a need for us to, yes, reasoning is helpful, and paying attention to what we're thinking about what you're thinking about is important, but also realizing that your body might need a release. Movement can be healing. And that's why I loved how she started artistically dancing around, because that can be so therapeutic too. I don't know if you noticed while I was reacting, I was starting to move and I was starting to, try to calm myself down somatically and touch points that I feel like could maybe help me calm down. I was trying to just dance with the music video because that can be therapeutic. Getting the chemicals flowing, getting the hormones flowing, getting your body moving. AI, what do you think about? We could go deeper and deeper and we could be sitting here for hours. What do you think about AI's little therapy session with me as to why that was a trigger and why that put me off? Do you agree with ChatGPT's responses? What did you think about this video? Which parts stood out to you the most? Which parts represented anxiety the best in your mind? And what do you do that helps you? Please know I want you to find value in these videos. Please know this is not meant to be instead of therapy. Please go see help. Call the suicide hotline if you're suicidal. Reach out for help. Talk to your doctor or a healthcare provider about what you could do if you're dealing with anxiety and depression. But I want you to know that you're not alone. We're here. And I want you to find a place where you can listen to music with other people and you can find music for your mental health and find healing and hope. My goal is to get people to live life fully. And if you want a space where you can listen to music with someone who gets it and who feels it, subscribe. Hey, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you on the next ride. Heyo!